This event has become one of our most special traditions, where we raise the Progress Pride flag on campus as a way of launching our activities for the months. Oh, I should have said I'm Charlie Jeffery, the Vice-Chancellor, if I've not yet met you, which may well be the case. Anyway, because of how the dates have fallen this year, we've already had the big celebration in the city, the York Pride Parade, and the festivities that followed on the racecourse last Saturday. And it was a great moment to see the Pride Parade assemble on Saturday. I gave a wave off. It was a riot of colour, glorious sunshine, and I thought a genuinely joyful mood. I walked all the way down the parade and saw various colleagues from other institutions, and it was a real moment of collective mobilisation. So a great privilege to be there alongside so many proud and passionate members of our community, celebrating who they are and demonstrating support from one another. I think it was an inspiration for those there. I think it was a great statement by our city, of which it can be proud of, and something we can be proud of as well at the university. So this event is an extension of that parade in a sense. It demonstrates our clear and unwavering commitment as an institution to supporting our LGBTQ+ community. I'm going to raise the flag as a symbolic act, a visual symbol of principles of inclusion and of our commitment to be a university for public good. But we know, of course, that symbols are not enough by themselves. It's what we do on a year-round basis, on a day-to-day basis, that provides the energy that raises this flag, keeps it flying, and carries forward our intentions as a university. Now, to that end, in the lead-up to Pride Month, there have been a series of listening exercises held with LGBTQ+ staff and students, which have been followed up, I understand, with a number of workshops that took place this morning. Now, throughout those discussions, we've invited members of our community to tell us what it feels like to be an LGBTQ+ individual, not only as a student or a member of staff, but also within our wider community, particularly at a time when we see so much negative and contentious media coverage around issues of identity. And I've been given some of those reflections from those discussions to share now, anonymised of course, under three main themes: equity, support and guidance. So first, equity. There was a feeling from a number of people that LGBTQ+ issues are often marginalised and not given the priority afforded to other areas of EDI. Number two is support. Staff and students said more support should be available on a range of issues, especially around peer support for those staff who are not yet out to friends or colleagues and haven't yet joined any formal networks. They'd also like to see more visible LGBTQ+ role models across all departments, grades and roles. And the third area is around guidance, with staff and students reporting that the lives of LGBTQ+ members and the issues they face are often not understood by the wider staff and student community, and that there's a need for more information and awareness raising. Now, that feedback gives us a set of challenges to respond to in the coming months, and I know colleagues here and elsewhere will be committed to do so. Let me make one other point. In last year's speech, when we required umbrellas, I remember, so this is not hugely warm, but it's an improvement. In last year's speech, I addressed the challenges, the distress even, that was caused by a freedom of speech event. This year's listening exercise highlighted that distress again and underlined the need for greater understanding among staff and students about the processes and considerations associated with controversial events and of the impact that they can have on vulnerable, marginalised members of our community. Now, we'll continue to look carefully at that, at people's concerns, and where we can provide extra information and support in those circumstances, we will. Now, the reason I wanted to read out some of the feedback provided by our staff and students is because it's important for all of us to understand the pressures and the concerns that members of our most marginalised groups can experience. It's also important for those who've given that feedback to know that we have listened, especially when some of their points are a challenge to the university to improve its practices and an invitation for us to do better than we do now. So, now I'd like to invite everyone here to join us in celebrating all of the contributions and achievements of our LGBTQ+ community by raising the Progress Pride flag in a moment, which will act as a symbol of our solidarity, a symbol of shared goals, and a reminder of our commitment to creating an inclusive environment that not only celebrates, but also supports those most marginalised in our community. Before we get to the flag though, we have a couple of other speeches, and I'm going to hand over now to Freddie Newell, one of our YUSU LGBTQ+ officers, who's going to say a few words. Freddie.
Thank you very much, Charlie. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much for joining us for this Pride Procession flag raising. As Charlie just mentioned, my name is Freddie, and I am the YUSU LGBT part-time officer. First of all, as Charlie has mentioned, I would like to express my thanks to Johnny Lovell and the EDI team, the EDI Exchange with Emma, and the Rainbow Alliance Action Group for their support in organising events over the past few months. They've looked at how the university can further support our communities here at York. Pride Month for me has always been a liberating experience. It is a time of celebration, self-expression and love. It is a time when our community joins together to celebrate what it means to be queer. It was the greatest pleasure to see our community join together at York Pride last weekend, both those who are part of the LGBTQIA+ community and our allies too. However, Pride is not just about celebrating what it means to be queer. It is a time of education, awareness and reflection. As Charlie mentioned, this time last year, our community here at York was deeply wounded by a free speech event that was hosted on our campus. It left our community, especially our trans and non-binary students, feeling vulnerable, attacked and unprotected and unsupported by the university. A year on, we as a YUSU LGBTQ+ network have continued to support the university in learning lessons from this event, as well as rebuilding the relationship between LGBTQ+ staff and students. I want to reiterate to our students that I will represent our community to the hilt. Your needs will always come first. To the university, I reiterate that our identities are not up for discussion, our orientations are not up for debate, and we will not engage with those who cause us harm. The fight for equality is never over, and we will fight to the bitter end for the acceptance that we deserve. With lots of York love and pride, Freddie and Fran. And I will now hand over to one of my colleagues, Liz.
Hey, yeah, so I'm Liz Wansmurray. I'm a staff member, a student at the university, and I'm also director of Queer Arts, which is a York-based community interest company that's been working collaboratively with the university. So thank you to the university for helping to sponsor our stage at Pride. I hope some of you saw it. It was excellent, and we're going to be even bigger next year. I'm just going to read a poem. This is called No Place Like Home by Pam McAllister. With music in our hearts, dancing in our hips, harmonies rising from parched throats and lips, we call out from the shadows, one voice at a time, singing of somewhere and rainbows and home. Don't ask us to forget pink triangles, that lonely fence in Laramie, a quilt stitched in tears. Don't tell us to wait, we've rallied an infallible army, one lover at a time. Once friends of Dorothy, we kept our advocates under wraps. Called to act up, we came out. Lambda banners unfurled, get used to it. Climbed the ladder from the wells of loneliness, one rung at a time. We archived our herstory, our sapphic verses, each wild kiss. Since Stonewall we've marched down avenue and aisle, a lavender nation emerging one rainbow flag at a time. With music in our hearts, dancing in our hips, harmonies rising from parched throats and lips, we step with pride from shadows, one singer at a time, knowing that truly there's no place like home.